So this is a shellac burn video, but it's different in quite a lot of ways from any other project that I've ever done. It's quite a bit bigger than the normal encaustic paintings that I do, so there's that. But I also don't work with colors like this most of the time. I think this is the first piece I've ever done that has so many different colors, especially pastel colors. So it was, it kind of required a kind of change in my mindset almost a little bit. So it was a little bit tricky in that way, but it was really fun working with these different colors and seeing them blend together with the blowtorch. That's one of the big differences was working with this larger piece. I decided to try using my blowtorch for pretty much all of the fusing and shellac burns because going over the surface, I just felt it was going to take too long with my heat gun. And I apologize in this section of the video, you can see my head and everything a lot. So, but it gets a little bit better further in. These colors are really fun to mix too. I have a set of dry pigments in all different colors that I use to add color to my encaustic medium. And so it was fun to kind of start out with clear and then use my dry pigments to come up with the colors and make sure that they were opaque enough to show the shellac burn in between the layers, but colorful enough that they would stand out on my piece. I'm trying to mimic a sunset, and so trying to get that bright yellow mixed with the oranges and the blues and the purples. I would love to hear your thoughts on the colors and how they're blending together because this might be something that I want to do again because it was really fun using all these pastels. But I'd love to hear suggestions from you guys on how you would mix the colors, on what colors you would use. Maybe there's some different colors you would add or some ones that you would leave off. I'd love to hear your ideas. Because again, this is the first time I've ever done this many colors before. So, and because I was working on this little section, I decided to try my heat gun again. But yeah, for this size of a piece, I think doing the blowtorch was definitely the right way to go. So mixing pigment and shellac is always kind of tricky for me because I've used way too much in the past, and so the shellac has been way too diluted, and I've gotten terrible, terrible cells, and just the burns just didn't work really at all. So I'm always really hesitant to add pigment to my shellac because I don't want to add too much. I still want to get good burns. So this shellac that I used was the super blonde, but it still had a yellowish tint. So I added about a quarter teaspoon white and then did this burn, but it just wasn't quite white enough. I wanted to do a little bit more. So I added, for some of the later burns, I added another quarter of a teaspoon. And it actually was perfect. It was white enough and I didn't have to worry about the dilution of the shellac. It worked well. Because I don't work with colors very often, I don't ever really kind of slap and splatter the encaustic medium on the surface like that. But gosh, it was really fun. Just adding a touch of color here, a touch of another color here. It was so different from how I usually work, but it was refreshing, especially because this week I've just been not feeling very artistic. You know, sometimes you just struggle with your creative process and you get, artist block or whatever, and it just nothing seems to work right. But I think working with these colors and all these layers was definitely what I needed to kind of get my mind going again. I've also never done this many layers of shellac before, and oh, just right there, I apologize. My video got cut off for some reason. I think my camera just stopped, like ran out of battery or something, so I apologize for that. Not being able to show you the application of the shellac, but it's, basically the same as before. Um, it's the burn that is always really fun to watch. So I was able to get that at least. So, and this is the first time I've ever really worked with this many layers of shellac and then wax and shellac and then wax. Usually I just do a couple layers, but this was really fun too because it's just so many layers of color and blending and shellac and just really made this piece super interesting and it has a lot of depth because of it. And that's it. That's this piece. I would love to hear your thoughts on this since it's so different from anything I've done before, even though it is a shellac burn. Let me know what you think of the colors, of the composition, what you would do differently. I would love any feedback that you could give me. And thank you guys so much for watching. As always, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.